Um, let me start with this from my end of things. First of all, I'll again say this about the Valero Alamo Bowl. Incredible experience for our kids this week. First class organization, first class event. Beyond grateful to represent the Big 12 and be able to be a part of this event. From my end, in terms of, I think I should say another great thank you is to our fan base. You see the energy and the excitement that they have been so loyal to us, not only through the good times, but through some of the tough times. And what an honor to be able to put them on this stage and be able to be in this environment. And they were incredible tonight, and we're beyond thankful for them and their support for us. And really for this football team, I think really simple. I'm really proud of what this team stands for. I think if you look at our football team and our football program, you're talking about a team that, just like you saw tonight, never quits, plays with elite attitude and elite effort, is a team that demands to continue to get better. I think the missing piece for us right now is in the detail. And you want to take the next step in this program. We had to learn how to be consistent. We had to learn and prove that we could win with consistency here in Iowa State. We've proven that. Now, to take the next step in this program, it's detail. And really, it's what got us tonight. Really, in all three phases of the game. Big kickoff return right before half. Some silly mistakes in the pass game early. Obviously a tough fumble, and then, some missed tackles early in the football game, and I think it comes down to that. But I got a lot of respect for Coach Leach and Washington State. They didn't make those mistakes, and ultimately they won the football game. So with that said, I'll certainly open up to you guys with any questions you have.
Please raise your hand and get the microphone. Please direct your question to one coach or player at a time. Front.
Matt, I'm just going to start at the beginning.
Sure.
What interpretation did you get about the sparings?
Yeah, I didn't, and that's where I guess a little bit of my frustration was. So, that there wasn't any communication with that. And like I said, it's a crazy environment. The officiating crew's got a lot going on, so I get that and I understand that. My frustration during the football game was just getting an explanation. Now, I should be better than that, but it really didn't get any, and those are unfortunate situations. What I was really proud of, though, is our kids' tremendous ability to overcome the loss of two, what you would say are be very good football players for us this year.
In your estimation, was the second one sparing?
Yeah, it's really hard until I see the videotape. Obviously, like I said, officials got a hard job, and I've got the utmost respect for any officiating crew that comes out here and does what they do, and I think they're working as hard as they can to make the right call. So I have to go with that. Obviously, would have been the right call.
Roy Flores, AP Radio. Just take us through that 2-point conversion and the options that were available and what ultimately happened.
Yeah, obviously our young center struggled at times tonight, in terms of hearing the cadence, and that's unfortunate. We thought we had a really good play. There were multiple options that would have been a part of it and thought we had the perfect play called. But, again, those things happen. We went then, back and had a couple options on the next play as well, and, just weren't able to execute in a critical moment.
Matt, you talked about winning in the details. What are some of the biggest ones you want to get fixed up, and what gives you hope that you're going to get them fixed up for next year?
Well, I would certainly think our kids and how they play give us hope. I couldn't ask for a group of kids to work any harder than what our kids do. And I really think this group's gotten better, as this season's gone on, and it's a really young football team in a lot of ways. It's got a chance to have a senior class that's maybe, there's a lot of guys that played a lot of football in this upcoming senior class that have had a huge impact. So I think our leadership coming into this coming year has got a chance to be really special, which is exciting from my end of it. I think that's a credit to the last two senior classes and what they've taught us of how to do things the right way. And, I really just think it's detail. Again, I've said this and I always say this, our margin for error with the people we play and the opponents we play against is always going to be small. So tackling in space, running and converting the right routes, throwing the ball to the right people, taking care of the football. Those things got to be the difference maker. And you turn it over 3 times in a football game like we did today, it's really hard for us to win, and it doesn't matter who we play. And that's not to knock Washington State at all, because they're a tremendous football team. That's just, we got to know who we are and what gives us the best chance for Iowa State to be really successful.
Middle.
Matt, you mentioned details, 7 false starts. How much of a factor is it to not play for a month, to have a month between games?
Yeah, I really don't think it was a huge factor from that standpoint of it. I really think the noise, was a major factor, and especially for our young center who has played really good football for us. And again, I put that as much on me as anybody, where, do we need to have a different cadence? We tried to do some different things to help him out through the game, but, it certainly got really loud in there at times. So I think just handling the environment more than anything, especially as those environments continue to escalate with the noise, we got to do a better job, and that's really on the head football coach.
Front.
Matt, after Brock started 1 of 4 with the 2 interceptions, he finished 17 of 23. What did you see from his ability to settle in there?
Yeah, I didn't think Brock was, even bad early. I think he made the right reads, and, it just, a couple unfortunate situations. Their guy made a great play on the ball, and, just some situations that were what they were. But it's what I love about Brock. I mean, his moxie and his consistency, and it's great to have guys like Akeem and David to get the ball too. And, those guys made some great plays on the ball. But I think what he has the ability to do is play the next play, and it's what makes Brock Purdy really special. And, I thought he did a lot of things in a really powerful way tonight that continue to show his growth. So it'll be really fun to watch him and get him into the winter and watch him continue to grow.
Hakeem, just talk about your game tonight. I mean, what were you able to be so successful tonight?
I think the coaches had a good plan coming into the game with everything, and I mean, that's pretty much it. They had a good game plan, and I just tried to execute to the best of my ability.
First for Brian and then Marcel. You guys obviously knew all week that this was the #1 passing offense in the country. What was able to work so well for you guys in slowing Minshew and that group down? And you had to work against short fields a couple times, but what was maybe working especially early in the second half when they couldn't really get much going?
I would say playing together, playing as 11 as one, pursuing to the ball. Like you said, an explosive offense, the #1 offense. You kind of do what you got to do. I to slow them down and playing as one unit. That was our goal.
Thank you, Brian. Marcel.
Totally agree with PV. Everything you just said. Yeah.
Front.
Hakeem, just to follow up on the question, was there anything that you saw in the coverage that just opened up the game for you?
With their corners, the way they played, and the safeties and things like that, we studied them a lot. I mean, we had a long time before we got to play them, so we got to understand them really well, and we just saw some things that we liked, and we just attacked it well.
Question for Brian. Brian, Coach was saying earlier how much the senior class had imparted to the rest of the roster. What are some of the things that you think that you've left behind as a legacy at Iowa State as a senior?
Oh, yeah. First off, definitely not settling for less. My years here, we had 2-win seasons, 3-win seasons, and now we're kind of changing the culture of that program. So what I want to leave as my legacy is basically we before me, putting your teammates before yourself and just serving, and I think I did a good job at that. So.
Hakeem, right here. Where are you right now with the NFL, and what's going to go in that decision? Just trying to get an update from you. A lot of people want to.
I mean, we just lost a game, so I mean, it's kind of hard to even think about going anywhere, but I'm just focused on what just happened right now.
What's the process for you over the next couple days for that?
No idea.
Back right.
Brian, what'd you say to Willie Harvey at halftime or after that game, being a fellow senior and just the situation of him having to depart that game the way he did?
Yeah, that's a tough way to leave your senior, your last game. But I know all week we talked about being physical, and I guess when you're going full throttle, it's hard to let off. And we respect him for that, and we had his back, and that's kind of what I told him.
A couple more questions, Randy. Wait for the microphone, please.
Matt, what were your thought on David's fumble? There's some thought that it might have been a forward motion thing, or when he came to the sidelines, what'd you tell him?
Well, I don't have to say anything to David because it's just like every one of our guys, mistakes happen in a football game. And, I believe in our players. I trust them. I love them. I know none of those mistakes that happen are meant because a lack of trying. So, I think we went right back to David, and we went right back to some guys earlier in the football game, and you just continue to let your great players make great plays. But mistakes happen.
Final two questions. One, go ahead.
Matt, when you look back on this season, I guess what are you going to remember? How would you kind of define how it all went?
1-3 to 7-8, and the ability to turn the tide. It's gutsy. I think if you look at the teams that started the football season 1-3 around the country, and the teams that had the ability to recover like this group did, it's really powerful. And I think this group has got a really powerful story. Obviously we came up short tonight, and that's unfortunate, but I think those shortcomings will only guide us going forward. But what this senior class, what this team did this year, really powerful, because I think a lot of people wrote us off at 1-3, and probably should have. But the reality of it is, in our walls, our kids kept believing. And I think that's more powerful than anything else going on. And to be honest with you, it's why I think these kids can leave this, wherever they're going tonight or tomorrow, and they can have their heads held really high, because what they've done and what they stood for in changing a culture, like Brian said, it continues to change in a really positive direction. And for that, I'm really proud of this group.
Thank you, Coach Campbell. Appreciate